Hello everybody, I am the Ugandan knuckles. I am here to tell you about my country of Uganda. I am here because I am the nerdiest knuckles, and I have the most knowledge in the Ugandan culture. But I have a little bit of a cold, so I will have my friend Dirin, and he is going to tell you about the lovely world of Uganda. Enjoy. Alright guys, so today we are going to be talking about Uganda for the school project. So this is the map of Africa, and so this little glowing red area right here, that's Uganda. So let's take a little trip over to Uganda. So here you can see this is just a lonely little village with not very much, but like some farm animals, some little huts that are made out of wood, dirt, and leaves for the roofs. They have a tiny farm over here, and they have this religious cultural hall, because back then they had so many different random religions, but most of them involved having a religious cultural hall. And this is before Uganda got, imperialized. And over here they have this area where you can, go to the bathroom. All these little dragon eggs, yeah, those are actually dumps that people have taken. So now I'm going to show you inside one of these little huts. So you see that they have the sand floor and the leaf top and the cheap wood. Some of them got mud. And then back here they have a little farm where they raise their animals for slaughter. An interesting fact about Uganda is that in Uganda they speak 40 different languages. And their main one is Swahili. Their second main one is my favorite, English. Yeah. So this is, my little country of Uganda pre-imperialization. Now I'm going to take you over to the after it was imperialized. You can see now that they have more of a fancy place. I mean, it's not as fancy, but now they're using stone and whatnot. And instead of the original cultural hall that they had, they now have a Christian church. Because after being imperialized, about 85% of all of Uganda became Christian. So you can see here that here's their little area where they talk and everything. And they, after imperialization too, they have, it's not as obvious when they take slaves away and stuff. They still take slaves, but it's not as obvious, and they have to take some back routes. So you can see inside the buildings they still have dirt floors and sand floors, but the buildings are more concrete, and more fancy. Not as fancy. So in here they have a little bit better bathroom arrangements. They have in here where they go to the bathroom, and right here where they can, dip their hands in and wash a little bit. And just after Uganda was imperialized, I want to say that the living conditions were made a little bit better, but not completely. Because Uganda is still, even today, a third world country, and most it's just a third world country. Another thing about Uganda after being imperialized is that there are really just 5 main religions that popped up. The main one was Christianity. I can't say that. The Jesus religion. The next one that popped up was Islam, and there's one really long one, the something Church of Uganda, I think. And yeah, so that is super fun. They have a few others. So over here in the pre-imperialized area, the white people would just, the Brits would just come in, grab slaves, and then leave with them. And they wouldn't really do anything other than just take their slaves. Just take them as slaves. And over here you can see that the Ugandan people had a wolf pack to help them hunt because they're hunters and gatherers. And over here in the imperialized part, they didn't want to make it nearly as obvious for the that they were taking slaves. I mean, they still took them, but not nearly. They didn't make it nearly as obvious. So what they would do is they would grab them during the night and take them down a dark alley and into some underground secret tunnels. So here's my underground tunnel that I have designed. It's quite simple. So they would take them and they would have them go upstairs into a building behind a false wall and make them stay upstairs in the top of like a tavern or anything like that, or just a building until they could be shipped. And then the people that captured them would go through another door and up into the tavern, pretend like nothing happened. So here's my lovely tavern. You got the bar area right here, got the bed, living area. And yeah, so that's kind of how life was for the Ugandan people, sort of. So, like I said, yeah, so the slaves would just wait up here, and they weren't able to leave. Normally they'd have like a guard or something down there, and yeah. So, this all took me about a few hours to build. Yeah. So we're gonna go back and talk to my good friend, Nerdy Ugandan Knuckles, for our final goodbyes. Oh yeah, and over here, this is the tavern that I built. You can see that it's outside the city. And yeah, so here's pre-imperialism and post-imperialism. You can see the giant golden cross here, and over here with the smoke coming out of the religious building of sorts. And yeah, so that's basically it. So we're gonna go talk to Nerdy Knuckles, and then yeah, he's gonna share with us a message. Hello my peoples, I am the Nerdy Ugandan Knuckles. I am here to discuss with you that my people are a very sophisticated people. They love pretty much, they have a lot of cultural dances. While I can't show them to you today, I want you to know that my people, before imperialization, they were happy. They were extremely, extremely happy. And then after imperialization, they weren't nearly as happy because they were forced into learning English by the British peoples. Another thing, so the church that my friend over here was talking about is the Seventh-day Adventist Church of Uganda, and it kind of spawned around the 18th century is when this happened. One interesting thing about Uganda is that we have access to a lot of foods, like specific meats, like mutton, fish, beef, chicken, and pork, goat, fruits of many kind, and variety of vegetables. It's really nice. But not all of our tribes, sadly, are abundant in any one of these specific foods. So one thing that's good about Uganda is that each tribe is different. Each tribe has its own dances, its own food, its own religion, its own language, and its own way of life. Because each tribe is so different, well, let me explain at least the main parts of each tribe. The Ugandan tribe dances often involves a lot of movement in the lower hips areas and more of the swaying of the arms. No movement in the arms. Or just the movement of the legs and the lower parts of the body. Another thing that is cool about the Ugandan culture and dances is that we have a lot of cool costumes that we wear. And when you move the lower part of the body while dancing, you usually dance to the beat of the drum and the beat of whatever other members are talking about. Another very different ways are depending on the ceremonies. For example, the dance to a quicker beat and have more words in the song if it is a king's coordination, because we have a lot of kings. Another one would be for a funeral, and they would dance really slow and be sad, a lot less words. For each type of dance, you wear a different costume. Each tribe has its own special way of living. Some are hunters and gatherers, like over here in the in the post pre-imperialization area. Sorry, I'm not very good at English. So, the most developed countries, the more of them, well, they're not as developed as what you would say America, but what you would say is some hunters and gatherers, they're not hunters and gatherers anymore. But there are cities with cars and some electricity. Now, let me tell you a problem about Uganda. There are children all around the world starving, but especially in African countries, which is why we need your help. Please donate some stuff, to those charities that help the African countries. Donate food and clothing and all that makes you happy, because they need it too. They don't have very much. Thank you, and have a very, very nice day. Well, that's it, guys. We are going to say goodbye for now, and remember, be happy. Goodbye.